Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the retirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. I appreciate you all so much for listening to us weekly, watching, however you're picking us up on the broadcast, the podcast, the video stream, the YouTube stuff. Please remember to go subscribe to YouTube, leave us comments. It's all good. Just leave us if you got guests that you want me, topics, any of that kind of stuff, please feel free. This show's about all of us, and it's just not our guests, but it's about the listeners and what we can bring to you to help you become entertained and educated as far as our content goes, because we're upbeat talk radios. I like to say we don't do negative around here. Last week we had that back-to-back show with one of our guests today. Actually, it's going to be part of this conversation today. Brock Fletcher was here with Morgan Meredith and Stacy Robinson, the seller's agent, the top 10 questions that Gemini AI posed. And that was all from Brock. Brock came up with that idea. That was a great production idea. And it was really fun. And so just to add to the whole portfolio of shows that we do with Brock and the whole team over there, because we're really involving more of the team to help you understand what you can do with your real estate needs. And so those were a riot. We had a really good time with that one. So today is a little bit tied together with that, because we're calling this one the Spartan Experience. And I love doing the Spartan Experience shows. A student athlete's journey. Tre Mosley's here with us, and it's really Brock is very, very connected with Trey. He introduced me to Trey, and he has worked with Trey through the selling team. And we're going to talk about all of that and the maturation process that we have to go through for our young people and helping them grow and become standalone adults. I mean, that's what we're here for as parents, and as older adults, we want to help our young people because they are the future. Tre Mosley is born Pontiac's from Pontiac, went to West Bloomfield. Just pulling this right off his Wikipedia page here. The guy's got a Wikipedia page. I like that. Got a Wikipedia page. Mosley's junior season, he bought 55 receptions for 1,030 yards and 10 touchdowns. Good ball player. Coming out of high school, he was rated a 3-star recruit, which is pretty darn good. 21st ranked prospect in Michigan, top overall receiver in Michigan, a class of 2019. Congratulations on that, my man. All of it. He had offers from Michigan State, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Oregon, Purdue, Cincinnati. He saw the light. He went to the green machine. And the rest is history. Absolutely. And I was working the sidelines when Trey was in college. So we might not have talked much because he was playing and I was working, but get to see these guys and get to see how intense it is down there on the sidelines. But it's more than that. It's more. So the student athlete's journey it's big and it's diverse, and now we have all this other stuff that we have to fold in there with the transfer portals and the NIL stuff. So getting these former athletes in here to talk about all the changes, that's always a fun one. First, I want to go to Brock Fletcher and say, Brock, you want to introduce yourself and then introduce your friend and talk to Trey and a little bit and bring this whole thing together?
Yeah, I feel like your audience knows me pretty well. So everything is great. I'm very blessed and I appreciate that, but I'm really excited to have Trey here today. So I want to spend most of our time visiting with Trey, but I first met Trey about 4 or 5 years ago. Trey was part of our first internship class. And so Trey and I have got a chance to spend quite a bit of time together over the last 4 years. And even if it hasn't been in person, text message, phone calls, I would say we definitely have developed a very nice friendship over the last 4 years. But Trey's awesome. But Trey, I want you to take this time to tell us about you.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, Brock, those kind words. Tre Mosley, born and raised in the state of Michigan, grew up in the entire Oakland County area. I guess that'll be the easiest way to say it. Born in Southfield, grew up in Pontiac, attended high school in West Bloomfield before, deciding to join the Green and White at MSU. In terms of my family, I'm the oldest. I have 3 younger brothers and a younger sister. So being the oldest already brings, a certain level of responsibility as an older sibling. And that right there, along with just the things my parents instilled in me at a young age, really helped me become the man I am today. So very thankful for my upbringing. I'm very fortunate to be able to have the opportunity to go to Michigan State, where I was able to play ball, get a great education and also meet great people like Brock. So that's the journey for me in terms of just the build up to MSU and having the opportunity to become part of the selling team and learn from them under their wing for those 4 or 5 years that I was on campus, and then also still having those long lasting relationships with everyone today.
First thing I'd like to ask you, Trey, is why MSU? I mean, we'll talk about the selling team and how that extra, that part of your education, because that's a huge part of the education, having an internship and working with professionals, that's massively important for college students. But that's before we get there, you're coming out of West Bloomfield, and you did have a chance to play some pro football. And I mean, so you're that good player. I mean, you played 4 years at Michigan State University. You had the COVID time, but what exactly, what tipped Michigan State towards your favor, and what was your experience as that went right from the beginning in the early days?
It just goes back to growing up as a kid in the state of Michigan. You always watch those great MSU teams, whether it be football or basketball, competing at a high level, and just seeing those Coach Dantonio teams along with those Izzo teams, it really put a spark in me and it gave me like something I looked up to. Like if I ever had the opportunity to play for the green and white, I would love to do that. And as I went through high school, the opportunity became like a real opportunity. And all the visits. And I remember the first time I actually met Coach Dantonio, it was like a dream came true, because up until that point, it was like I viewed him as a superstar, which I still do. But sometimes you never expect to meet superstars at a young age. And when I first met him, I tried my best to keep it cool, but it was a great experience.
What was he like when you first met him? Because he seems like such a stoic guy. And I mean, and I've met him, I've worked the sidelines for his staff for a long time. But he was just so businesslike. He's just right there. What was he like for the players? Because is he sort of like a dad figure?
Absolutely. From the outside looking in, he may seem like someone who's played one of the old mob movies and things like that. But he's a very family oriented person. And like I said, you may not know that from the outside looking in, but once you get to spend some time with him, every time I see him, even when I saw him earlier this year, the first thing he always asks is, how's my family doing? And no matter where we are, hey, Trey, how's your parents doing? How's your siblings doing? And that's something that has been consistent since the first day we met. And that's why, the love and the genuine relationships meant so much to me when I decided to come to Michigan State.
Who was your position coach?
So my freshman year, actually, the person who recruited me was Terrence Samuel, who was under Coach Dantonio for a numerous amount of years. And then my freshman year was Don Trellwell from the previous staff. And then the tail end of my career, majority of my career was Courtney Hawkins.
Those are three solid coaches. So as you grow from high school
Absolutely.
to college, and you're just making that leap, is the transition, and I need a short answer here because we're going to come up on break, but was the transition that significant from high school to college?
Yes and no. I was very fortunate to be at a top high school that had a lot of talent competing with each other every day at practice. So that helped me a lot preparing myself leading into college. So definitely there was some to both sides to that.
We'll talk more about that, everybody, when we come back, because we're going to go to break here. I'm going to carry this through. Let me reset everything. Calling this one the Spartan Experience. I like doing these multiple guest shows. Brock's been so great to help us get good guests and sponsoring us and doing all the good things. The Spartan Experience, the student athlete's journey. Tre Mosley, 4-year player at Michigan State University. He was the number 1 receiver in the state of Michigan in high school in 2019. He's seen it. He's been there. We're going to talk about the balance. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about NIL, transfer portal. We're going to talk about the selling team and the professionalism that you learn working for a person like Brock Fletcher and why it's so important, but also some tips, not only on the training side of things, which I'm very, very, engaged with training and physical fitness and all that kind of stuff, but the mindset and how you keep yourself dialed in and making good choices. And because my favorite saying is choices have consequences. And to reach the level that Trey reached, from being the number 1 receiver in Michigan to going to Michigan State University to playing professional football to now being in his professional career. And now he's going to start doing some media stuff, starting here with doing some stuff with Will Tiemann and the Spartan Network. All kinds of exciting things to talk about on this radio program. We'll be right back. This is The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back. I want to thank our staff, Mitch Anderson and Vanessa, for what they do, helping keep this thing together, because as we've grown and been on the radio now, we're going to be starting our 15th season here very soon. And it takes a team, just like the selling team of Keller Williams, our sponsor, Brock Fletcher, who is one of our guests today. Brock is kind of like a rock star who knows all these student athletes, men and women, from Michigan State University. And so we want to help the student athletes get some exposure. And so does Brock. We want to help educate everybody. And so these types of appearances really do help. But the selling team of Keller Williams is, full disclosure, you guys know this. I've said this. I say it. I will continue to say this. We trust the selling team of Keller Williams with everything, because we have dealt with the selling team of Keller Williams for years. When I met Brock, he helped me decide to pitch Sandy on the idea of selling our forever home. That was a fun one, and it went well. And then we had Mikey Dedman help us buy Little House Lansing, where we're recording this episode today. It's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. And the thing for Brock and the selling team that's really makes him a different player in this game of the real estate business is Brock will invest money in marketing way ahead of anybody else. He is investing money to help you sell your home, where most agents, most companies, they will hold back on the money. Money's tight. We don't want to spend any money on marketing. And it's like, they only do the marketing when they get the listing. Brock's been marketing, like, he's been with us for 5 years, and it's been wonderful. And it's just unbelievable. 25 episodes. And again, if you got questions, check out our website, tommattshow.com, and look at some of the Reality of Real Estate episodes with Brock and a whole bunch of different people, because we bring them up from all over the place, and they're just fun times. Phone numbers coming at you. Here's the office number, 517-853-6408. 853-6408. That's the office number. Here's Brock's cell phone number, and he's on it constantly. 517-303-3262. 517-303-3262. You can text him, leave him a voicemail. He changes his voicemail every day. He'll tell you when he's going to return the calls, and he does. Okay? So get that number one more time, 517-303-3262. You can go online to kwsellingteam.com. kwsellingteam.com is the place you want to go. And of course, you can go to our website as well. So we have Tre Mosley here, along with Brock, the Spartan Experience, a student athlete's journey. We're just talking to Trey about the transition from high school to college as far as an athlete. Now, you've given us kind of the lowdown on why you chose Michigan State, Trey, but the balance that you have to maintain, being an intern with Brock, working, doing your time, set all that up and tell the listeners kind of what you have to go through as a Division I student athlete. And then you mix in the Brock Fletcher and working as an intern with him. But start there. Start with the time management skills that students should be expected to know or understand, at least, when they start in college. Can you start there, please?
Absolutely. Time management is by far the most important thing for any student athlete, no matter which university you're at across the country. You have to have the balance of, one, your books, whatever sports you're playing, practice, recovery, mealtime, and then also you're going to have the after hours, whether it be extra time in the study book, hanging out with teammates just to build that team camaraderie. And that's like I said, that's before I even mentioned what I did with Brock and myself, and along with the other athletes, wanting to do more than just be a student athlete, wanting to have those opportunities to better yourself outside of just that sport you're playing, because as most students have those opportunities, whether they're interning over the summer or having job opportunities throughout the school year. But as an athlete, your time is already so limited. So being able to do that sometimes is quite impossible unless you have people like Brock Fletcher in your corner who have the flexibility to allow you to be a student athlete and gain that experience. And myself, along with a handful of other student athletes who've done it over the years, are very appreciative of that, because that wasn't something that's typically normal for many universities.
Brock, what have you learned? You've been working, you said Trey was one of your first, if not the first student athlete that you had working in an internship program. What have you learned about the student athletes, and what are some of the things you'd like to talk about? We'll talk about Trey throughout the show, of course, but please share some of your input.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that has jumped off the page with almost all of my interactions with our student athletes is just the level of maturity right out of the gate. So when you live a life with that much pressure, right? Going through high school, the pressure of performing, getting recruited, there's a level of maturity that's already there. At a 20, 21, 22, that's a lot of pressure, right? Very, very few 20 somethings, are being scrutinized. And even when I look at myself, right, I'm my worst critic, but if you're a college athlete, you are not your worst critic, right? You have a lot of people that are bringing heat on you, and frankly, most of those people couldn't even do a 40-yard dash. Let's just say that, but a lot of pressure. Trey's very mature, very humble. Trey's one of my favorite people. You're very welcome. But yeah, just that level of maturity really jumps off the page with many of these student athletes. And there's a level of mental fortitude and toughness, again, that kind of goes with that. These positions, you're kind of on an island. I mean, when you're at the receiver position, your job's to get open, right? So if you can't, you're on an island. If you're not performing, it's available for everybody to see. So that pressure creates good people. Frankly. So
Trey, talk about that a little bit. We got a couple of minutes before we got to go to break here, but you being one of his favorite people, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel very honored, honestly, because like I said, Brock is a stand-up individual himself. So to get that respect from him means a lot. Just everything we've been through over the years, he's always been in my corner, the highs and the lows. So I'll always appreciate that from Brock.
Brock's the man. He has been.
Absolutely.
Brock is a straight shooter, everybody. When I have a card that I do my reads for Brock Fletcher. I just need a couple of just thoughts. I just really just wing it every time because there's so much passion. There's so much respect for a guy like a Brock Fletcher. Brock, you've changed a lot of people's lives. With what you've done. Give me a quick answer on that. How do you feel about that? What's your favorite guy Trey just said?
Awesome. I'm at the time of my life. I'll be 50 here in a couple of years, and really, most of my time now is really spent thinking on how can I bring value to other people. I'm going to be fine personally, financially, whatever. I've worked really hard for 30 years to build a safety net financially. And so for me at this point, it's really fun to be able to spend the majority of my time trying to build up other people.
We're going to go to break, everybody. Let me reset everything. Tre Mosley's here, former wide receiver for Michigan State University, played some professional ball. Brock Fletcher's here, calling this one the Spartan Experience. I love doing the Spartan Experience shows with athletes, with student athletes, with students. It's just fun, even with administrators. Vinny Gore was on the show recently, and he's the number 2 guy at the university. The Spartan Experience rules. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to The Tom Matt Show. We're on weekends all over the state of Michigan. We have our podcast that's grown significantly over the last 10 years. We had a podcast before I even knew what a podcast was. I'd had people ask me, they were older adults, of course, but like 12 years ago when we first got this thing going, I had older women asking me, what's a podcast? And that's a true story. True story. I don't know. Podcast is something that you can go to. Check it out. TomMattShow.com. Spartan Experience, a student athlete's journey. This is the part where I really enjoy talking about testimonials for Brock. Love Brock so much and all his people. You can tell when a Tre Mosley is talking about, and Brock saying his favorite people. The respect that goes back and forth is so incredible. Here's another one for you from Lorelei I hope I said that right, Lorelei, I think, Portland, Michigan. You provided the very best service, big bold letters, and I've never had an agent like you work so hard to get the home of our dreams. Thank you so much. I love doing those kinds of things. And you know what? You know what else I love doing too? A new thing that I've been doing just recently? Saying hello to Joan Wright. What up, Joan? You don't worry about it. I'm going to keep saying your name. I hope that's okay with you, Joan. You can give me a call sometime. You got my business card. I sent you that little note, that little love note. And, you know, we appreciate you. And so does Brock. That's why Brock brought that up. And that's why Brock suggests guests like a Tre Mosley. And that's why we're doing this. If you want to reach out to Brock, I hope you do, because we did. And we were very, very, very happy. We love Little House Lansing. We love Big House Holt. But it was time to go, and Brock was the one who gave me the little bit of goose to say, hey, now's the time. These guys know. They know. I mean, go back and listen. If you want to do anything, do the buyer's agent, seller's agent shows that we just dropped. Those two shows are the two of the best real estate shows we've ever done on this radio program. Absolutely no doubt about it. And it was just fun. But you get questions answered, okay? Questions answered. And that's what we need you to do. 517-303-3262. 517-303-3262 is Brock's number. Go there. Go to kwsellingteam.com, please. Or go to my website, tommattshow.com, at the bottom of the homepage, and click on through to one of the nicest websites you'll ever see. And Joan, you got to be good. I know you're great. I know you're great because Brock said you're great. Okay, let's get back to it with Trey and Brock. Brock, I'd like you to kind of talk to Trey about, we're all kind of wondering about this college football that changes. And you're such a big college football fan, just like I am. And we're season ticket holders. We're both season ticket tailgaters. I mean, you're a pro when it comes to going to football games. Talk about your feelings and start picking Trey's brain on this NIL transfer portal stuff, because this is a big, big, big topic. And I always love talking to the athletes, especially, not that Trey's been out of football that long, but things have changed so fast. It's just crazy. Do you want to take this?
Yeah, I'll ask Trey a couple questions. So I'm going to put my my analytical hat on versus my fan hat, because theoretically, I mean, here's reality. From a fandom perspective, it's totally different experience, right? Than when you get a chance to know some of the players directly, and you hear the inner workings type stuff. So, Trey, just overall, is NIL a good thing for college football? And if so, how so?
Is NIL a good thing? I look at it as a blessing and a curse, when handled the right way. I think the negative side to it is just the structure of it. I'm not sure if there's a solid structure put in place for each sport and each university across the board, where it makes it an even playing field for each, whether it be conference, division, whatever the case may be. It should be a structure that keeps everyone on the same accord, so that there's no confusion, there's no uncertainty, and there's no problems. I'm all for athletes making money that they deserve for putting in the work. So that part of it, I'm 100% behind. I just wish that there becomes some type of structure so that athletes aren't abusing it, and also that universities aren't abusing it. If we're going to allow athletes to be compensated for their work on the field, like the pros, then we should act accordingly and make sure that there's a structure in place so that both sides are protected.
What was your other question, Brock? You had another thought after the analytical hat. Go with the fan hat.
Yeah, so I'll make a comment first, then ask a question. So as a longtime, Michigan State fan, so much of my enjoyment of watching, whether it be football or basketball or whatever, is watching a player mature over a 4 or 5 year period of time and getting them to be like a major starter or contributor in their senior year. Part of that kind of is disappointing right now, because you don't get to see that as much, right? Because kids are in and out so quick. From a player perspective, and you were here for 5 years, so you got to enjoy a lot more of like the fan interaction. But are the players missing out on developing relationships with the fans over a period of time? And do you think that's gonna, or are they just completely unaware that they could be building relationships over 4 or 5 years? And does that weigh into the equation at all?
Both. There are some athletes who are aware of what they're missing out of, and that can be due to having older siblings who have come through the ranks of being a collegiate athlete, or just having people who are close to them who've also been in the same light. And then there are some other guys and girls who could be the first one coming through and being a collegiate athlete and not really understanding the full process of the camaraderie, the relationships that you can build in the community that will last a lot longer than your 4 to 5 playing window. And I think that is something that is going to become a lost art with the cultures of different universities. Like my freshman year, when I came in, that was something that the older guys instilled in me, along with the coaching staff, the history of the game, the love and passion that the fans brought to each game. And I feel the portal has kind of taken away from that because guys aren't seeing the full picture, with them only being at a university for a year or a few months and then on to the next. It all can get mixed up for them, and it's a different viewing for them because they're not looking at it as, okay, this school has a long history of this or that. It's just more of a transactional thing. I'm here to play ball, do my education, and then if it works out, great. If not, I'm on to the next. And I think that's very detrimental to, one, the college game itself, and just the tradition that universities have.
I like that you said the tradition. Go ahead, Brock.
I've got a follow-up question to that too, which we probably won't know for many years, but I have a theory and I just want to know the answer. So, because so few guys can go to the next level and play NFL and have a career. Do you think that the players that transferred a lot, are they going to have to defend that decision in a job interview at some point, do you think?
I think in some situations they will. In some, it may not be that big of an issue, but I can definitely see that coming up just in terms of adversity. You know, at some point in life, you're going to face adversity, whether it be at a younger age or at an older age. And quite frankly, adversity never stops. You know, at your least expected time, you can face adversity, but that's what builds character in all individuals. You know, how you come through, how do you react, and how do you come out after going through a tough time.
Talking to Tre Mosley, interviewing Trey, and I'm just sort of keeping time and having fun listening to these guys talk about this stuff because I love sports so much. I love MSU so much, and Brock and Trey and the whole mix is so interesting to me. You know what? Through adversity grows opportunity, everybody. I use that term all the time. I mean, there's just things happen, okay? Things happen. People grow. I think NIL, as Trey was saying, with the right structure is the right move. We just it's going to take a little time to formulate the structure. They're working on it. Be patient, okay? Don't get I have so many friends now that get so annoyed with this whole thing, with this whole concept of we're paying players now, they're professionals. It's like, relax. They're making billions of dollars off of college football, and the players get squat. I mean, they get it. Everybody's they get a college education. Okay, you know how hard it is to play college athletics at the Division I level? Yeah, it's pretty tough. Spartan Experience, the student athlete's journey. Tre Mosley's here. He's our student athlete. Brock Fletcher's here. He's the boss. And I'm Tom Matt, and this is the Tom Matt Show.
This segment of the Tom Matt Show is brought to you in part by the Source of Light and Power by band leader Ark of All and broadcaster Mitch Anderson. Hear the sound that is endorsed by Odyssey headphones, linear tube audio, RME converters, and Peluso microphones at sourceoflightandpower.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. I am your host, Tom Matt. Thank you so much for listening, watching, subscribing. Please subscribe. Please use our sponsors because our sponsors help us and they keep us on the air. And that's how it works. The Spartan Experience, a student athlete's journey. We can't have a Tre Mosley on here without Brock Fletcher because Brock's the one who introduced me to Trey in the first place. And this is the fun thing about all of this. I was posing a question to the fellas during break here, a little production question. And listening to Brock's questions, and if you missed any of the show, please go back and get the podcast and check this out because it's all been super solid. But Trey and Brock, I want to get your feedback on this as well after Trey gives his take. But it seems to me that we're grooming our children, our young people. Now, I have a 12-year-old granddaughter who's an outstanding left-handed softball pitcher. She's playing volleyball now. I have a 10-year-old, almost 10-year-old grandson who is a baseball player, and they're already kind of, they see what's going on with college sports, and they're 10 and 12. Trey, do you think like these 14, 15, 16-year-olds, are we putting too much pressure on these kids for you to like make money as a 17, 18-year-old in college? I mean, college is hard enough. Being a Division I athlete on top of that is extremely hard. Then you put on the hat of doing an internship so you can learn some professional skills. Are we putting too much on the sandwich for our young people?
There's definitely a burden that can be added onto young people as they're coming up the ranks, wanting to be the best version of themselves. I look at it as we have to allow kids to be kids, allow them to go out there, have fun, compete, win, lose, or draw. The big picture things will handle themselves when the time comes. But if we put too much on them at a young age, by the time they get to high school and college, they're going to be already burnt out. And it's really going to, I think would be a disadvantage for them. So I think there's a time and place for everything. If you want to have those conversations, pick their brain, see where they are, because every kid is different. Some kids may be able to have those discussions and be able to deal with that process at a younger age than some others. And there's no right or wrong answer for that, but you just have to know the child that you're dealing with and what may be the best for that child. Not what's best for the parents, not what's best for the coach, but what's best for the kids to be able to thrive on and off the field so that when the time comes for them to be in those situations, when NIL and things like that are presented to them, they make the right decisions based on relationships and what makes the most sense for them.
Brock, would you like to comment on that and ask a question?
Yeah, I guess my comment would be, because I grew up in a time where there wasn't a lot of travel athletics. It was basically you played community basketball, baseball. I mean, it wasn't like it is now. My younger brothers did travel soccer, and so they were constantly traveling. I think if you're really that talented, where you've got a chance to play at the next level, then I think it's important for a parent to recognize it and put those kids in a place to be recognized to play at the next level. But I'm going to be transparent too. I think a lot of these leagues are just irrelevant because it's the parents' pipe dream that they think their kid's good enough to do something. And in that case, if you're depriving your child of an opportunity to be a more well-rounded athlete or to do more, learn different skill set, and you're like got them in every travel sport known to man, thinking they're good enough to do something that they're not good enough to, and they don't want to do it, that's where I think it can go off the rails.
Well, I was just going to say, Trey, I attend a lot of youth sports like Brock's talking about with the some travel and some in Wisconsin. It's a little bit different because they still have the city league that they have, and then they have some travel as well. But parents living vicariously through their children, give a tip to some parents out there about this kind of stuff, because I'm seeing it more and more where, I mean, it's because of the cost. There's a huge cost with this travel stuff. I mean, I've seen 7-year-old girls softball teams that cost $5,000 a season. They wear uniforms like the Oakland A's, and it's incredible. And it's like, you want to talk about that, about the parents, and a tip from a former professional athlete and college Division I athlete. What kind of tip would you give to parents about perhaps taking that pressure off the kids a little bit, taking the pressure off themselves?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to add unnecessary stress and pressure on a young child. You want to be as supportive as you can. Get a good understanding of where they are, mentally, physically. Make sure they're actually doing something that they want to do and not what you're forcing them to do. I think it's very beneficial for young athletes to compete in as many sports as possible, whether it be for their school or like in their city. That way they can really find out what's something they really enjoy versus, oh, I'm playing basketball because all my friends are doing it and their parents are making them doing it, so I guess I'll just have to do it too. But because sometimes everyone around you is playing basketball, but you can be the best in gym for baseball in your town. So I think it's just very beneficial. And a lot of the times, playing multiple, well, not a lot of times, more often than not, college coaches and high school coaches, they love athletes who are multi-sport athletes because it translates into other sports, and what you're working on keeps you in shape and out of trouble throughout the whole year too. So it's definitely something that I think there has to be a healthy balance of allowing a child to be a child and giving them the freedom to make smart guided decisions from their parents, but not being forced to make those decisions.
I'm really glad you brought up the multi-sport thing, because as a personal trainer myself and being very engaged with all of this, Tom Izzo has been a gigantic proponent of multi-sport. He actually recruits multi-sport athletes and encourages it. And it's so vitally important for balance. I mean, because you just need to just change. You meet different kids, you train different parts of your body. You don't, a lot of girls out there, young women, they tend to have some knee injuries. I've talked to other trainers about this, and because they're so one sport specific, they get overuse injuries or a major knee injury, something that could be serious, and it can really, really hurt their future. Brock, I'm gonna pose this question to both of you guys. I want both of you to kind of think about it and give me your feedback on this. Brock, you first. Do you think players now with NIL, do you think that they will still be seeking internships, and why?
Yes, I do, because I think that almost all student athletes recognize that there's going to be some career outside of their sport, and plus I see the yearning for knowledge through not just football, but through a lot of the student athletes. So yeah, I think there's always going to be a place for internships. I really do, even with NIL.
Now, Trey, you're working at a company called, and I've got it on your LinkedIn page, WAM. Is it just WAM? You're a logistics consultant at WAM. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How much did your internship help you when you were an intern for Brock for 5 years? How much did that help you with this career path that you're taking?
Well, a lot. It's crazy that some of the things that I was doing with Brock actually were perfectly fitting me for this position in terms of sales role, being able to do cold calling, have conversations with people I've never met before and not feel uncomfortable. So that transition was perfect for this, and just working with Brock was the only work experience I've had leading up until this point. So things like that, I was very thankful that I had the opportunity, because if I didn't, I would have, been going out there blindfolded, not having any experience at all. So just having those few years behind me to, just build it up helped a lot.
Well, we met at a speaking engagement that one of Brock's many events that Brock puts on. He puts on all of these customer events. I met you at the baseball stadium that time. These experiences that you're getting in public speaking, the sales calls, I love that, because I want to get better a little bit every day. And that's how we have to live our lives, everybody. We don't want to stay in the same place, especially nowadays, because things are moving so quickly. I'm going to carry this thing through. We got a little setup here coming up, and I got a little bit of time to talk about where I'd like to go. Trey's got some other things going on that he's excited about, working in radio, working for one of my mentors, actually, Will Tiemann, and Wendy Hart is his wife, and those two people have been so impactful in Sandy and ours lives. I cannot say enough about them. When we come back from break, talking about the Spartan experience and the student athlete's journey with Tre Mosley and Brock Fletcher, I want to talk about that exciting opportunity, because again, this is side action. So we want to have multiple things happening. And this is where, again, going back to the internships and getting the experience and talking to a person like Brock, or getting meetings with Brock, or talking to Trey and picking their brains on. This is where it's so vitally important for all of this. Go back and check out. I want you guys the listeners out there, to please go back and check out the 2 episodes that we did with Brock and his team, the sellers agents and the buyers agents. Sellers and buyers. Those, again, as I said earlier, those are the 2 best shows that we've ever done in real estate on this radio program. We've done 25 of them. Okay. Those 2, our latest, are the best, because it shows you how it's so detailed now. Things are so complicated that you got to have different things happening at all times. You need to have people that have expertise, and I'm really happy to hear that Trey's getting a shot with Will Tiemann. We'll talk about that as we come back, doing some sideline reporting. I'm looking forward to hearing his voice down there, saying, there's our guy right there. Tre Mosley's here, Brock Fletcher's here, the Spartan Experience, a student athlete's journey. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. The Magic segment. This is the 5th segment of this show. Only a few radio stations carry this on broadcast, WKAR being one of them. Thank you, WKAR, for what you do for us, and all of the radio stations that carry us on the Michigan Talk Network. I mean, it's just very, very important to have all of those people helping us, listening to us. Steve Gruber, Ivy Gruber, thank you for putting us on the Michigan Talk Network. You can find us, TomMattShow.com. Just go there. If you got anything, you got guest suggestions, you got topic suggestions, go to our website, send a note. There's a contact box on there. If you got a question for Brock, but you don't really want to reach out to Brock, I don't know why you wouldn't, but you can always reach out to me and I'll get it to Brock. So however you want to do it, we want to make it easy for you to communicate with us, okay? Because we're wide open for all of this. Okay, let's go to Trey first. Trey, how would you like people to connect with you contact-wise? You young people, you like to use social media. That's how I find a lot of people is on social media, but emails, phone numbers, whatever you prefer. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, so for Twitter and Instagram, feel free to give me a follow, TreMosley _ Tre Mosley _ I'm also on LinkedIn, Tre Mosley. So feel free to reach out to me on any of those platforms.
Easy peasy. Brock, you want to share yours?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, my cell phone is still the best. It's 517-303-3262. But also, you can ask, because I'm really cool now because I'm using AI, you can ask ChatGPT how to get in touch with me. You can ask Gemini how to get in touch with me. You can pretty much ask AI anything about me that you want, and you're going to get a pretty good answer.
I got to tell you guys, I'm going to tell the listeners as well, with my first knee replacement coming up here very quickly, I bought 2 books on AI, and I'm going to sign up for an online course to just kind of learn the basics and the functionality for what I need it for, because I know that these platforms are so gigantic and you're not going to use everything just like any other software. Just figure out what you need to use and work on it. Because I'm telling you, Brock's idea with getting the top 10 questions for buyers and sellers made our last 2 episodes phenomenal. I mean, it was really, really great. And so don't be afraid to use this stuff because it's very important. All right. So we're shifting gears here. Trey, you know, with your career, you've been really very kind in talking about how your internship with Brock helped you in so many ways with WAM. Did you just call it WAM? WAM?
WAM.
What does WAM do? What is the company?
Yep. So WAM, we're a 3PL, third-party logistics group in the freight industry. So whenever you see these semi-trucks coming up and down the road, there has to be someone who schedules those. So we're in touch with all the different carriers that you see on the road. Any company that needs to move packaging, anything, whether it be full truckloads, LTL, small parcel with UPS, we coordinate those things.
Interesting. So you have this career going. You had your professional football thing going. You did your college thing. You did your internship. You've been a busy guy and you're a young man. And now you're getting ready to do a little radio. And so,
yes, sir.
Talk about that. How did that start to come by?
Just like I said, the family-oriented environment at Michigan State, being connected with former players like Otis and JU, they, always kept me in the back of their mind in terms of people who are looking to better themselves and also stay involved in the athletic side of things. So I've known those guys for a few years now. We've had some trips we have had trips along with other athletes to just, see how we can become better young people and do things to help our career. And it led to one conversation. I actually introduced Otis to the owners of my company at WAM, who are also MSU alum. So that worked out perfectly. And one day we were at lunch and Otis just brought up the opportunity of, the sideline group wanting to have a former player, take on that role this year. And it just worked out perfectly. And I would be a fool to turn that down. So it just thankful for the opportunity. So
what is the responsibility that you're going to be taking on? Brock, would you like to take a little bit of this thread and just to kind of talk about this? Because you're a huge football honk too. What would you like to see when Trey's on the sideline? What would you like to see from your mentee?
I mean, I'm sure he's going to do great, but I haven't heard the job description yet. So I will have him answer that question here first.
Yeah. So over talks with the rest of the group, my role will be sideline, play-by-play whenever Will or Wendy, whenever anyone comes down to me for me to give my side of the game from a former player and from that sideline perspective, because typically or often now they're in the booth giving the call. So it's a different standpoint. So to me, just seeing what I see from the lens of a player who was in the game 2 seasons ago and knowing a lot of the players who will be on the field competing, I think it just adds a different perspective that the fans who are listening in would love to hear.
All right, Brock. So now that you got a little bit of feedback on that one, you know the role kind of, sort of. What would you like to hear from your man?
Yeah. Will you be interviewing like coaches or anything during game, or is it not going to be like that?
So I will have some opportunities for some pregame, halftime, and postgame things, just depending on how it aligns with the larger TV networks as well. They have their spot set in stone too. But whenever I have the opportunity, whether it be a question or two, to just grab one of the coaches, like I said, pregame, postgame, or even at halftime, I just make sure I ask those questions that not only myself want to hear, but the people who are watching the game will want to hear as well.
I have to tell you, we have been having more and more, probably because, and I'm going to have to give Brock credit for this because he's brought several of his athletes on. I get more athletes now getting a hold of me. Andre Sims Jr. got a hold of me out of nowhere. I just interviewed Tommy Vento, and he was awesome. I mean, all of these players, they're all doing really great things, and it's really fun to see you guys just grow and mature, get out there and flourish. Brock, I think that you need to be acknowledged for achieving and helping our young people reach that, as we've talked about in our pre-production, that level of maturity. Trey, talk about the level of maturity where you're at now, because I just saw a student. I took some of my football tickets to a student that I've been working with, a senior now, and I hadn't seen him in about a year. And I took him my football tickets for Friday's game, and I couldn't believe how much he changed from his freshman, sophomore year till his senior year. That level of maturity and that growth is so just massive when you're in college. Talk about that a little bit, and Brock, and then I'm going to throw it to you and let you, and then we'll need our takeaways. But go ahead, talk about level of maturity and how much change can happen as you're growing in college.
It's something that just happens naturally over the course of time. We come in as a young, growing man or woman, and over your course of, like I said, your 3 to 5 year career, you just experience things, whether it be classroom things, things relative to your sport, or just normal everyday things that'll help shape you into a more mature person, because that's just how life works, whether it be a good thing or a bad thing. It all helps and shapes someone into a better individual. And that just comes with learning from the mistakes that you may make, learning from others' mistakes, and just continuing to want better for yourself. So I think all of those contribute into the maturity over a person over time span.
Brock, you've got your daughter, Jenna, who's going to be finishing her graduate program here this year. How much have you seen her level of maturity change in college? Because perhaps people don't have children, or their children are grown and they kind of forgot about this, because every generation is a little bit different. So what's your feeling with that now?
Well, I mean, happy, excited, proud for sure of Jenna. She actually passed her boards for speech pathology. So
congratulations.
This weekend. Yeah. So that's pretty spectacular. So she has to finish her last clinical rotation. Then she'll be able to start submitting applications for her first professional job. But, there's a saying that people will grow into the conversations you have around them. And for most of Jenna's life, I've talked about her future success and the things I thought she would accomplish. And I've taken that same approach to pretty much everybody who can stand to be around me. I'm big into self-prophesizing, future success, future maturity, future being good with money, whatever it may be. I talk about these positives around not only myself, but around the people around me. And I'm a firm believer that if you create powerful conversations around people, then it creates a better opportunity for maturity, for achieving of goals, even in the midst of disappointment, right? Most of the really awesome things that have ever happened in my life have been born out of what I perceived as a negative in the moment, right? And then you've got an opportunity to use that as a springboard to accomplish some great things. And so, yeah, it's really it's all out of that mindset of we're growing people in the conversations we have around them.
Trey, I need a takeaway from you. We're going to run out of time here, and I don't know if I'll be able to squeeze Brock in here, but I want to give you first opportunity. please give me a takeaway from your first visit on the Tom Matt Show. And I appreciate you very much. And thank you for doing this today.
Professional, very professional. You guys did a great job of just having a game plan and sticking to it, not all over the place. And that's something that's very important, whether it be in the radio world, anywhere in life, having a plan and sticking to it helps you get a long way because you're not getting distracted by all the outside noise. So that's something that really stuck with me from getting on here. And I love the way you operate today. So I tip my hat to you guys.
Appreciate that.
Look forward to any other situations and opportunities we have to work together.
Brock, I got a couple seconds. Go ahead. Give me 30 seconds.
Yeah. A lot of gratitude, Tom. You and Sandy have been very generous to me. Trey, I've had really have enjoyed our friendship over the last 4 years. I'm very thankful for it. And I just want to encourage those people that are listening to be a positive light for other people, right? In a world where you can be anything, be nice and be kind and help people get what they want in life.
Absolutely.
Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. I want to thank Tre Mosley again, Brock Fletcher, Sandy, Craig Stiles. We'll talk to you next weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Go green this weekend as we're recording this. The Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. Thank you again to Mitch, Anderson, and Vanessa for working behind the scenes and making us sound good and look good. We are out.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Arc of All.